Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Don't you love it? Why do I have to make why can't the testing process be more enjoyable?
It's really all about the user, I think, in this case. So you don't have to actually say testing. I can glean what I need to know from different words.
No, but why do they say check? Why do they say that? Check. 1, 2. 1, 2. Why do they say that? Because they don't know about sound and they're trying to act like it matters, or because they know about sound and the could be something that's problematic.
I think they want to get the full range, my friend.
Why don't they say something like "every good boy does fine"?
Because they're cooler than that.
Do you know what "every good boy does fine" is?
It's a typing exercise. No, it's the lines. It's the treble clef.
Phone a friend. Yes, it's a treble clef. And when you see me around, you know there's going to be treble. You laughed sincerely at that.
No, I didn't.
You did because
I didn't.
You did because it was quick. You couldn't believe how quick it was. Yeah. It's going to be treble tonight. I had to quit my chamber music group that I was in.
Yeah?
Too much treble.
Ah.
Why can't we do this for an hour?
We can.
We've earned it.
We can. It's our 20th episode. We can do anything we want.
I can't believe it. It's our 20th episode.
I know. That seems like nothing
longer
in the world of podcasting, but so much for us to have accomplished.
For us, it's a major. For us, it's like coming up with the unified field theory.
We haven't missed a week of releases. That's right. For guys like us. I'm impressed. I have to say.
Speak for yourself. I'm very organized.
Yes.
I've got a lot of projects in the hopper. I have a Dennis Hopper in the hopper. I'm going to do nothing but puns for the rest of it. And you can't stop me. What are you going to do? You can get a new co-host?
I haven't been able to stop you in 20 episodes.
You get a new co-host at these prices? Did you have a good Labor Day? This is the day after Labor Day. I don't know when you people are hearing it.
It is. You're hearing it a couple weeks later from this, but...
why do you take so long to put the stuff out?
We're a week ahead now. We're stockpiling because you're going out of town.
Did the live show come out today?
It did.
And what's been the reaction?
So far, so good. People seem to like it.
And we're up
but it came out on Labor Day, so there was a lot less.
That's right. Labor Day should be a day where people go, you know what? Let's take some time off and listen to two Jews whinging.
I think they're more like, hey, it's Labor Day. I don't need a podcast to help me get through my day.
Well, that's interesting because if I think about doing the podcast as being something that would be fun for people to listen to, I can't think of it that way.
Yeah, no.
I can't
fathom that it's fun for people to listen to. I
can't fathom that because all the people I love to listen to, like, for example, he doesn't have a podcast, but I like Andy Levy a lot.
Really?
Andy Levy.
Who?
Andy Levy. $150.
Nice.
You would think by this point, well, here's something.
Yeah.
Obviously, Andy Levy is not listening to our podcast.
Right.
Because you would think by this point he would have tweeted out at me, thanks for the shout-outs, or stop it with the shout-outs.
You'd think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one Twitter fight before I came over here tonight, but it wasn't bad. But I thought it was, not Twitter fight, but this guy said on Twitter, he was on All In with Chris Hayes, and he said something about Trump. He goes, now look, I'm not saying he's a racist or white supremacist. I'm not saying that. Why not? He is a racist. He is a racist and a white supremacist.
Right.
He's a member of the birther. He was the leader of the birther movement. It's like saying, look, this guy heads the KKK, but let's not jump to conclusions.
Right, but that's sort of a TV panel dead end.
I wasn't on TV, though. I was
I think on Twitter, we're doing a good job.
No, Twitter's bad. Twitter is always bad because Twitter, I know when I'm starting to get into it and starting to get that excitement in my gut, it's going to be crash and burn time, baby.
Well, I am done being your Twitter school marm at this point.
Yeah, why? Did you get upset? You said that's it, right?
You tweeted one morning, I hope Josh didn't see that I was fighting on Twitter.
Right.
And I think I tweeted back, I don't give a shit anymore.
What
or something
happened?
like that.
That's what happened. What was going on with you internally?
It's not the image I'm trying to really cultivate for myself.
Oh, I see. You were afraid that you're good cop.
Yeah, this whole thing is really just a product of the It's not like I would have called you on the phone and gone, hey, you're being a troll. It came up in the context of the podcast.
Well, in other words, you're concerned that you're going to be looked at as
I'm
the
not
troll
really concerned.
guy.
No, I'm more concerned that I see that developing for myself as part of my image from, because I have to listen to these shows. So,
well, what do you think? You think people go, I don't want to listen to
I don't want to be that guy.
Nice Nancy.
I don't want to be Mr. Don't Smoke Pot, Mr. Don't Be a Troll.
By the way, this is my, how many episodes sober?
And when I say again, sober, I don't want to be the school marm of that.
No, you weren't the school marm of that. We agree with that. First of all, you have to be a slightly more reasonable voice than me because you're slightly more reasonable than me.
I think that's fair.
So what would you want me to do? Become I can't be who you are. That's what you bring to the table.
That's right.
But when I say sober, I don't mean that I'm not smoking pot. I mean that I'm avoiding it.
You aren't freshly potted up for the show.
No, in fact, I don't think. Oh my God, I can't even. I'm scared to say this.
You haven't smoked today?
Smoked today yet.
Oh my God.
3 months. I got really excited for a second, like it was a legal day, but it's going to be in 3 months.
Is it like January 1st, right?
Yeah, January 1st. I can't believe it. Everything changes.
Then you can finally start smoking pot regularly.
I'm telling you, when I think about, like the other week, I was walking downtown Sherman Oaks. I'm not going to reveal where, but if you've heard me say Jimmy O's, right?
Yeah.
So I was just looking through the new thing, and I said to myself, I was smoking a joint, and I said to myself, oh my God, I hope someone didn't see me. I cannot believe that there'll be a time period where someone can see me, right?
It's just as legal for you to smoke it now as it will be in 3 months.
That's even more ridiculous.
It's only a question of how you can obtain it. But the smoking is just as legal
fine.
now. Yeah.
But I'm still, and I'm thinking
I don't know if it's legal on the street, by the way.
Well, that's only you would bring. No, that's what I would worry about. You're not. Where would you? You can't smoke indoor. In other words, you're supposed to not smoke in people. No one's going to stop me. Is the point at this point? No. I'm a man in his early 30s, and I look conservative.
Right, absolutely. And that smoke coming out of your sleeve is just combustion.
I liked the other day when I looked at the weather report, and it said it was 89 degrees and smoky.
I know. Did you see on your phone? That was like
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
On my phone, is it still smoky?
It's like no, it's not anymore.
Is it how much contained it is? Is it?
It's largely contained.
Because I hate when they report. They go, it's not the only 10%. You know, what are you doing? What are we waiting on?
It was quite a fire.
Where was it?
It was above Burbank.
And do they know the cause? I always wonder about that because I always think I could be the cause by mistake.
It was you mixed two chemicals together and threw them out your window.
Laughter and tragedy.
Yes.
They don't know what started it.
I don't. I haven't been following it.
But that's my big fear is that I'm going to be accused of starting a fire. I don't have a fear.
Really? That's a big fear of yours?
It was when I was 21.
When you were flicking cigarettes out your window?
Nope. I went up to Yosemite when I was 20. These were the days when I was worried that I hit somebody in my car.
Right.
So I went up to Yosemite, and for some reason, I must have been smoking pot. So I was, for some reason, was convinced that I could have started a fire there. So I'd look in the paper every day for a month.
For a month?
Yeah, for a month.
I don't mean to laugh.
Oh, my pain is humorous to you?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
That one is.
So, anything new in the what's happening in the Josh Weinstein universe?
I don't know. I'm in a weird period right now.
I couldn't tell that from the immediate "don't make me the bad guy" comments.
I'm not even saying don't make me the bad guy. I just didn't, I don't I don't want to be on the side of don't smoke pot in general.
Oh, no, but you do want to be on the side of don't
Let's
get
do a
into
good
stupid
show.
Twitter fights. What's the other side of, what's the other arguable side of you should, okay, tonight you should be in ridiculous Twitter fights with robots. For the yes position, it's Andy Kindler.
No, I don't.
Is that doggy? Oh, I'm sorry.
You kicked my dog.
I kicked my dog, but not on purpose. That makes it worse.
Is that?
I love these dogs.
She went to the vet today. She was not a fun companion at the vet.
And does she know she's going to the vet?
She knew once we got close to the vet. She was happy being on a ride until we got a couple blocks from the vet. Then she got hit.
And then what was wrong? It was just
a checkup. She needed a couple shots, and she needs to lose a little weight. Mm-hmm.
You know what? I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. This weight obsession has now reached the animals.
Get your dog off the carbs, they said. No.
That's right.
No,
Your dog should observe if you eat healthy, your dog will eat healthy.
Exactly.
Dogs do weird things, though. I didn't realize they do such weird smelling this and tasting that.
I worked on America's Funniest Home Videos. I know everything a dog does. I know everything a baby does. I know everything.
Well, everything what?
Everything a baby can do.
Give me an example of something. How do they sound when they cry?
Like,
20th episode.
Did you say 20 episodes?
20th episode, yeah. That's what I said.
So you wrote for, you were not the host of
I was not.
A lot of people don't
sadly,
know these things.
Sadly, I was not the host.
There was America's Funniest Videos, and wasn't there a spin-off show with Dave Coulier?
There was indeed America's Funniest People.
Now, that didn't include videos? They would come into the studio.
Well, and they go around the country and
find them.
Film and
it's like a stupid human tricks.
Yeah,
around the country.
Yes.
Wow. And so, would you say after all those years of seeing these dog videos that you got tired of them?
Absolutely, I got tired of them. But I also have gained this sort of sixth sense for everything that can go wrong.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
I can see the guy on the ladder and how he's going to fall. I can see how, the groomsman who's going to faint at the wedding. And you can,
right.
I see I can really precog all these things happening.
Was there ever a video where a guy takes it in the shorts at some point? He gets hit in the balls.
No.
There was not that?
You'd be surprised.
Because that's the one I would think would be...
Yeah, you'd think that would be common.
Uh-oh.
And funny if it happened.
That's gotta hurt.
But, I assumed there'd be some, but there wasn't.
But here's something that maybe you don't know or you don't care to know, but were there any fake videos, and could you tell when something was fake?
There absolutely were fake videos, and generally you can tell it's fake. It's, people aren't good actors for the most part.
Well, look, the guy who had his son in the... That is still my favorite story of all time.
Which?
The guy who claimed his son...
was in the balloon? Yeah, that was pretty good.
And he's like, where is Eddie? Where is Eddie?
He's hiding in the attic.
And then he's on the Today Show. He says, I wasn't in that balloon.
And then threw up in a bowl, if I recall. Because of the pressure of lying.
You know what? That's not nice to do that to your kid.
It's horrible.
I don't care about you.
No, it was horrible on every level. You shouldn't do it to your kids. You shouldn't do it to America. You shouldn't even do it to crappy CNN.
But didn't they have him... I think there was a filmed part of it where they film him walking around going, where's Eddie? Or whatever the thing is.
No, it was full-on hoax. It wasn't like they actually... But they never for a second believed that the kid was in the balloon.
But they fooled people.
Yeah.
Right? Because why would... First of all, you go, why would I lie about that?
Right, exactly.
What did they claim when
it's so crazy, it might just be deemed crazy.
Oh, okay, but the what they claimed was he was never in the thing. They thought he was in the thing because he was upstairs?
No, they just got busted pretty much.
Oh, no, because I thought they would say, we don't have footage of him coming down like Bigfoot.
Right. No, yeah, there was
thank God.
Right.
He was hiding in the study.
Yeah, horrible people. Horrible people.
One of the best things about being alive is that people will do ridiculous things. I don't know why. It's such a stupid thing, and you keep thinking that they're not going to do it. Although I think most of the Bigfoot things are real. First of all, do you think there's a Bigfoot?
No.
Okay. Secondly of all, do you think that there are aliens?
I think that there are. I don't know that they've visited here yet.
Okay. You know what my theory is on aliens? I'd like to believe. I think they're from another dimension, maybe. I don't know. It's all if someone's making money saying something.
Yeah.
Then I tend not to trust it. But then you have someone like Aykroyd's been into it forever.
Right.
And there's UFOologists out there who normally sound like regular people.
Right. And they get tired of people using air quotes around the word UFOologist.
Well, there's some bad shows on the Science Channel or one of those channels where they get too much like, were aliens here long ago?
Right.
Those are bad.
When we get back, we'll see the true evidence that will blow your mind.
How long is this Game of the Thrones going to go on? You think at some point they would whistle it? Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I don't.
Game of Thrones.
I don't watch either of them.
Why don't we come up with a mystery thriller, sit on your edge of your seat, cliffhanger?
Because we haven't even come up with a mildly interesting hour of talking yet.
That's not true. You can't believe the responses I get from people in the strangest areas. There's a guy in the Andes Mountains who loves us.
I was looking at our stats the other day. And,
well, don't get too technical on it.
Our stats. And we have listeners in every state, but our worst state, guess what our worst state is?
Tell me it's not California.
It's not even close.
Is it a southern?
No.
It's not a southern state.
No,
it's not New York.
Surprisingly, it's not.
New York, then. No,
we're doing great. Anywhere there's Jews, we're fine.
Surprisingly, I would think it would be Illinois then.
No.
Chicago.
No, North Dakota.
Well,
no, I didn't say that. It wasn't that the state was surprising.
No, but North Dakota has
It's
Fargo.
surprising that the South isn't the worst, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because Fargo's in North Dakota.
Yeah.
And I had fun when I went to Fargo.
We have, I think, 2 listeners in North Dakota.
And I'd
like to hear, if you're one of the listeners, I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, I would too. And I hear they were not from the same house.
If we hear from both of you, yes, it might be the same house. It might be one person listening twice per episode.
Don't forget, North Dakota, we'll be coming to record a live version of Thought Spiral. Right. And not just one night. 4 nights we're taking over. Right. We're taking over the Verizon Wireless Dome.
I did a lot of gigs in the Dakotas to only have 2 listeners.
And where did you did in the North Dakotas or the South Dakotas?
Both. I did both.
So
I did at least 6 cities, and I say cities with lightly, but in North Dakota I did Fargo, Grand Forks, Minot, Bismarck.
Why not?
Beulah.
Oh, these are
Dickinson.
triple gigs.
Huh?
These are Dave Triple gigs.
No, they weren't.
Cinematic Titanic gigs.
No, they were all stand-up gigs from different
Wow.
bookers. And then these are all, from 88 to 91 I did these.
Did you ever play any of the Red Lions?
No, but I did a lot of Holiday Inn bars.
Oh, Holiday Inn bars was great.
A lot of those.
I love the
Bismarck, Minot, Fargo were all Holiday
Now,
Inn.
I tended to think those were rough, those one-nighters. Did you think they were rough, or you had no problem with them? If you had a problem with them, it means you're a hack.
Yeah, no, it depended
if you
on.
didn't have a problem with
it. Depended on the gig,
yeah, that's true. You never
once
know.
in a while, you'd find these one-nighters that had been around for like a few years.
Yes.
And actually developed into a real room.
Yes.
And those are kind of fun sometimes.
I've had fun on nights, but I was just thinking as you're saying that there's a combination, there's a confluence of events. The first events are they're like one-nighters, but the second events is that one-nighters are attracting comedians on their way up in the biz.
Right. But
so you're not that confident. I wasn't that confident back then.
No, I wasn't either, and I was a teenager.
Yeah, I was ready to cry.
I was a teenager playing bars in the Dakotas. A Jewish teenager playing bars in the Dakotas. But, I mean, like the best gig in North Dakota for years was in Grand Forks at a hotel called the Westward Ho.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I avoid that?
It was, and that was like one of those one-nighters that turned into like a 3-night gig. And Chad Daniels actually was the house MC at the Westward Ho for like 6 months. He talks about that in our movie.
I thought it was a fake name.
No, it was a real gig. And
so he lived there?
I think he was commuting back and forth. He was like coming back to Minneapolis to do open stages at Acme and then going back up to. He tells a story about it in the movie.
It's odd that I would watch Chris Matthews and say, "Come on, let the other guy talk," and yet I don't get the message for myself because I am a Chris Matthews type.
Well, every show needs a Chris Matthews type. Well, no, just the Chris Matthews show.
Like my friend Larry Berger, $50. He pointed out that only Chris Matthews would name. He used to have the segment called "Let Me Finish," like he hadn't been talking the whole show.
Yeah, I'll carve that out. Well, I just do it in editing.
Yeah, this is the thing I think I'm starting to suspect about the editing process. That you're editing it to make you look good.
Maybe.
And so I'm like, because I'm getting some emails like, why did you go agapakapokaka? And where I admit that I'm gay.
I think people know where you're headed. They don't need to hear all the words.
When I admitted I was gay, we were on the way to Brent's.
I mixed it into a song.
I can't believe admitted I was gay is an actual bit I'm going for in 2017. I'm not gay, but my boyfriend is.
Bye. I forgot what I was going to say, but just getting back, I want to reiterate, if you're listening in North Dakota, I want to hear from you.
Right, but you're saying we're big in Alabama?
We're bigger in Alabama. We have triple-digit downloads in all but like 3 states.
Well, here's the thing that you can never make the.
I mean, we have multiple thousands in many states, but like every state, but North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming.
Wyoming, there's literally 4 people who live in Wyoming.
Yeah,
and 3 of them don't have phones.
I played Gillette, Wyoming.
Is Gillette, Wyoming, where the Gillette company's from?
No, I don't think so.
I wish I was a person who had
It's right near Devil's Tower, though, which is the.
And why do they call it Devil's Tower?
Because it kind of looks like the devil might have built it. It's the hill from.
Is it
Close
because it's
Encounter.
owned by Jews?
It's the thing in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I've forgotten everything in that movie. Is that the movie where he's building something at home and he doesn't realize that what he's building is his life?
It's Devil's Tower.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that a true story, or is Goonies a true story?
Goonies is more true than Close Encounters.
I'm going to sneeze. I don't normally sneeze that way, but I sneeze that way to cover up my sneeze.
It worked.
And also, I summoned the doggy.
You did. She does not like anything that weird.
What's that? You don't like Josh? Come on, give him a chance.
Aw.
Come on, Lucky. Oh, my God. I love doggies. I really do. I should host a show where I interview celebrities and their pets.
Wait a second.
Hold it.
Were there celebrities on that show?
It's the meanest thing you've ever said. That means you're saying our friends Kathy Griffin and Tippi Hedren.
Yeah.
You're saying that Tippi Hedren is not a
I would
celebrity.
say Tippi Hedren, but...
What did I say?
Hedren.
She changed her name when
Really?
she became a vegan.
Once she appeared on your show, she had to change her name.
We had some heavy hitters on that show.
Honest to God, I never saw that show.
We had Wallace Langham.
We're talking about Andy's pet interview
Short,
show.
it was four seasons.
On Animal Planet, correct?
Yeah, 39 episodes called The Pet Shop with Andy Kindler.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. It was shot in Burbank at Empire Studios, which I don't know if it's still there.
Right.
But the people who produced the show had no sense of humor. They knew I was a comedian when they hired me.
Right.
But then I swear to God, they kept saying, "Does it have to be? Do you have to make it funny?" I mean, now that could be a comment on me any night.
Right.
But they were like,
No, usually it's, could you make it funny?
"Yeah, because you're making funnier."
Right.
And then they said to me, "Can you not talk to the band leader until after the fourth?" I mean, it was like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't take any notes well. And you know who was on that show?
Who else?
From Last Picture Show, crazy lady. What's her name?
Sybil Shepherd?
No,
Cloris Leachman?
yes, she was terrible.
Really?
She came out in the middle of my monologue to complain that the band was making her cat nervous.
Really?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was really the worst.
Did you keep that?
No, and that was like one of the showdowns I had with the producers. They were like trying to arrange with her how to do it again with her interruption of my
so
monologue.
we can actually get coverage of it this time?
Yeah, and I actually, it was the only time I went into the control room. And I was angry enough to go into the control room.
Yeah.
And it just didn't matter. What am I even care? What do I care about this? What do I care? This is ancient history.
At least it's a story I hadn't heard.
And they won't play them again.
Really?
At least it's a story. What are you saying? Do I repeat my stories a lot?
You just asked that.
I think that's true. But if anybody could find out how to play them again, you know who liked that show? Frank Conniff.
Nice.
And
if you got Frank, then you've got Frank.
Right. Are you off tonight with your comments?
I'm a little off, yeah. A little off.
This is all in my book, how to put the other person on the defensive.
I was watching, speaking of being insulting, I was watching, did you watch Kraft Music Hall when you were a kid?
It sounds familiar to me. They would sponsor an hour of
It
horrible music.
It was like
right?
a weird, no, it wasn't horrible music. It was like variety stuff. And
okay. Now that makes sense.
I've been watching, I watched a few this weekend on Deep Cable.
What's Deep Cable?
Just, the really high numbered channels that show.
Oh, you mean like Cozy TV or
yeah, stuff like that.
My TV or Antenna TV?
I think this was like Get TV or something.
Oh, Get TV. Yeah.
And I was watching, there was a Friars Club roast of Jerry Lewis. Who wasn't enjoying being roasted, as you might imagine.
I wouldn't know that back. I thought he got more hideously grumpy as time went along.
No, he was pretty, I mean, he wasn't being a terrible sport, but it was gnashed smiles. But, the thing that made me laugh the hardest was Alan King comes on and he's reading from the official biography of Jerry Lewis, written by Jerry Lewis and his publicist, and he's talking about Martin and Lewis, and he goes, and he's reading it as if it's from the official biography, which it may have been, and he's going, Martin and Lewis got together in 1946. There was nothing they wouldn't do for a laugh. They would squirt seltzer on each other. They would hit each other with eggs. They would toss dishes. They would trip waiters. They'd hurl ice cream at the audience. They'd once covered a piano in shaving cream. And then in 1956, they broke up. The reasons given, artistic differences.
Well, my image was that Dean Martin hated every minute of it, right? Is that possibly true or not? And maybe not. Maybe that's an exaggeration.
He could not have possibly hated every minute of it. They were wildly successful.
That's true. But so, in other words, he actually...
And he wasn't successful on his own before it. You know, they were both, fairly entry level when they met.
Okay, so here's what I thought. I thought that Dean Martin was always cooler, which he is.
Sure.
And he's funnier, I think. More naturally funny, maybe?
Hard to say.
Well, are you a big Jerry Lewis fan?
No.
Okay, but
if we're going for naturally funny, I don't know.
In fairness to Jerry, he was amazing at King of Comedy. He's a great actor. If you could be that good in King of Comedy, you're a naturally great actor.
Right.
And I haven't seen all the movies that everyone saw. You've seen all the movies?
No, I've seen very few.
Have you seen The Nutty Professor?
I have seen The Nutty Professor.
And is that good?
It's, there's funny moments in it. And, he's great at being arrogant Buddy Love. I mean, he's got...
Oh, I see. And then he changes into a Jekyll thing?
Well, yeah.
Oh, but what is Buddy Love like? He's like a
Buddy Love's
operator?
a nightclub act.
What? But I thought The Nutty Professor was a Disney film. I'm so confused.
No. The remake, I think, was with Eddie Murphy. Was a Disney film.
Right. I went out for that movie.
Yeah. As Floydman?
No, Dave Chappelle got the part. I didn't get the part.
How often do you two go out to auditions together?
How often does the story end with me not getting the part?
That I've heard.
Okay, I'll give you another example. I auditioned for a single. What's his name? The Jews in Minneapolis.
You told the story, Serious Man.
I'm not going to tell it again, but I would just say that I didn't get that part either.
Because you auditioned on tape for the Coen Brothers.
I'm so sick of you. If you want somebody who is not experiencing early onset of dementia, then find that person. You know what, Josh?
Yeah.
If you don't like that I lose my place every 2 seconds, why don't you just replace me? If that bothers you so much, you know what, Josh? If it bothers you so much that I repeat myself, how long would you allow me to go on with this bit?
I'll go.
And how long would this bit continue till it was either funny or funny because I just won't stop?
Right. Well, that's the rule of Kindler, and I don't know. We might not have made it.
We are brought to you by DoorDash. See, this would be perfect if DoorDash sponsored us. Josh and I are obsessed. We're not obsessed. I may be more obsessed than you are.
I think it's fair to say you are.
Well, there's a restaurant near me. I'm not going to say the name, but I like going. I don't like, for some reason, I have weird fears in my life.
Right.
Like, it's very uncomfortable for me to go to a restaurant, like a quote, fancier restaurant,
right,
and get pick-up food. I get nervous.
Right.
So, DoorDash... this is not a commercial for DoorDash, by the way, but DoorDash is unbelievable. They say, you order it, they go, you ordered it. And they go, it's been sent to the restaurant. We sent it to the restaurant.
Right.
Your Dasher carrier Schminky is on his way to get it. Boom. You see a little line, in progress line.
So, and do you watch the whole time? Is this like an OCD fun zone for you?
And then they go, your Dasher is on the way.
Right. And then they'll even throw in, he's really close sometimes.
They do that all the time. He's really about to enter your apartment.
Right.
It's so great.
He's on your balcony.
Here's why I think this is where I think technology is getting better. Because when they first started, I had the iPhone 1, and as I used to joke, I was still downloading the Gore Bush results when I gave it away. It took them hours to get anything downloaded, and that's not that long ago.
No.
Now
10 years.
They will I ordered 2 of one item. They only came 1 of one item. Boom. Everything's resolved.
Yes. No, they're good. They do a good job.
Computers.
You end up spending a lot of extra money for your food sometimes, but
See, when are the Jews like me and you going to get off of our own neck? Well, that's the wrong expression. But why are we so? I am exactly like you. I'm like that line from Annie Hall, where he says to Diane Keaton, I'm having such a good time, I took my eyes off the meter for a second. I am always thinking about money.
Are you?
Maybe it's because I don't have a lot of money.
Could be. There could be a correlation. No, I just, I notice what I spend. I don't have buyer's remorse.
Right.
Right. But when you go, okay, it's costing me $20 extra.
Don't think about that.
like from that restaurant you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
like a block and a half from your house. So you're paying $20 probably.
I know, it's so well worth it. I hate you go in the restaurant and they look at you. What do you? And
You're not going to sit here.
I always
are you?
tip. I always tip whether I pick up or not.
Yeah.
They look at me like, "Why are you in?" And then I have to worry about I have to go put a suit on
Right.
to pick up the
Sure.
food.
Like the DoorDash guy does.
I don't know why. I think it's from the days when I took LSD, maybe.
Yeah.
When I would be having a good time and I'd be afraid to see someone.
Because they'd out you.
Yeah, something like that. So I still have to see somebody when they come to the door, but I put the disguise on.
Right. And now it's legal to smoke pot, so they can't really bust you.
Now I realize that a lot of my insecurities are not based on anything real.
Huh. That's good that you got there. That's true for all of us, by the way.
That's the don't sweat the small stuff.
And there's that, and my mom's best piece of advice on it.
Is this something you've already said on the podcast?
Yes.
Okay, well then should I make a big deal out of it like you did with me?
Sure.
I'm trying to cause a fight,
No,
Josh.
you shut me down. It's fine.
The episodes where we fight like cats and dogs are the best. So let's get the thing going. What do you mean by that? No?
No.
All right.
I don't have
What did your mom say?
Just that I always worried about the wrong thing.
Oh.
After a life of worrying.
Your mom said that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I took that as
a good
I took it as advice.
Yeah. And
Way better advice than you should wear a coat.
do people say that as their... that's what parents say.
Yes.
I was going to make is that what people say in their deathbed thing? But that was why am I going into heavy-handed Josh's... And we'll be back with more of Josh's last words of his family.
Right. Right after this. Oh, no, we're not back. They're dead.
They're dead. But you know what, though, Josh? I have to tell you that I am very concerned. Not concerned, but I know that I will say something wrong on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I can't... I try to stop it. I'm not justifying it. But I have a tendency to overshare and to say the wrong thing. You know? So, like, if I'll go to a Holocaust survivor's house and I'll pretend I don't remember they were in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
What was that thing that happened? Where were you during World War II? I forgot. Where were you?
Wow, that
What?
is awkward. That is really...
Well, that's what I call a prank.
Fucking with Holocaust survivors?
Okay, don't bring it up again. See, you bringing it up at the end made it worse.
Huh.
It was almost like a George and Gracie thing.
Don't recap. No recapping.
That is take that out when I said,
Okay.
So what else is happening in the news? What else is going on in the news? We don't talk about topical things here.
No.
So all we say is like it's probably summer.
Right. Well, at this point, I think this will probably this will be in the fall.
Can you believe it's fall? I mean, I don't want to be one of those TV shows or radio shows or podcasts where I say, "Hey, has everyone having a good fall? Call up 555-555-5555 and tell us how your fall's been." But it seems like it was a short summer. Certainly, fruit-wise, it was. Did you feel this was a great year for fruit?
This was the one year I haven't eaten any fruit, really.
Oh, see, I was under the misapprehension that fruit you could eat, but you can't. It's not like I thought some of these diets, they go, as long as it's natural sugar, but you're going to eliminate the carbs.
Yeah, I can eat raspberries, blackberry, blueberry.
Can you eat a tart?
No, I can't eat a tart.
I'm going up for the world's stupidest man contest.
Yeah.
You know, I'm using that word stupid now. I stopped using it for a few years.
Why?
I'm afraid to tell you why because I'm going to go,
You already talked about this in the previous episode.
you know, I can't believe this, Josh. Just because I repeat the same stories every single episode.
All I know is that your mocking voice of me has gotten more and more, more and more increasing over the last few shows.
Yeah. Oh, very funny, Andy. Oh, Andy, you're late again. Oh, Andy. You're ugly, Andy.
Things
Oh,
Josh
Josh.
doesn't say.
I just tried for the first time staring at you to see if I could get you to pick up the ball. Because you know what I'm saying? It's like people listen to this podcast are like, Andy picks up the ball. Josh is like, what's going on in Josh's world? I'm very tired of this adversarial relationship that I'm trying to conjure up.
Yeah, I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me.
I want you to be the Omarosa of our this couple.
And who are you?
Oh, also Omarosa.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I lost the will to do this podcast 2 days ago.
Wow.
No, I am aware. This is the thing. If you do host your own podcast, you will be aware of the fact that's the only time that you're aware of when you're having a conversation.
Right.
So I am aware of two things about myself. One is I dominate. I don't want to dominate.
Right.
I do dominate.
I need you to dominate today.
Oh, okay.
You're doing good.
All right. Okay. So you need me to pick up the slack. So I just want listeners to know this one wouldn't have even made it to the show if it's not that I'm not sober.
Right.
It's not that I haven't forgotten one thing I've said. I haven't forgotten one thing I've said. I haven't forgotten one thing I said. I'm taking a memory seminar now.
That's great.
You know what day I take it?
Don't remember.
I can't. Whatever happened? Do you think this type of joke is now no longer valid? I was going to take a class on procrastination, but I got a bub.
Yeah, no, it's not really.
It's not funny anymore.
No, it's not.
Or I'm trying to just think of what else is not funny. I should just watch Fill in the Name of an Old Style Bad Network. Now, we used to be able to make fun of Fox, not Fox News. But Letterman used to do jokes like, every week in show business, when someone's pitching something, they go, let's take it to Fox.
Right.
That was funny at one point because these kids who are listening to our podcast, they don't know that there was do that bit about how you had to go up and change the channels. I love that bit.
My UPN chunk.
UPN is not around anymore, right?
It is not.
But CW is.
It is, but you at the time of UPN, it was WB and UPN.
Now, we know this already, right?
What?
That I wrote for the WB?
What, you wrote promos?
Yeah. Didn't we
for
talk about this on the podcast?
We might have.
All right. So you know why Josh is doing that?
You wrote like Michigan J. Frog bits?
Well, but this is
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, it's time for Blossom.
Well, here's the thing. If I've told the story before, please feel free to take it out. But when I wrote for that network, they gave me an assignment one day. They said, write jokes. I just started there. Write jokes about why we chose Michigan J. Frog instead of Bugs.
Uh-huh.
So I go into the meeting that day at 4:00, and I say, well, we were going to have it would be a cockroach, but they weren't that attractive. Oh, we were going to have it be a flit. I go through 4 or 5 of these. They look at me. They literally look at me like I'm crazy, the two writers. And I thought I didn't know it was Bugs Bunny. They were referring to Bugs Bunny.
Right.
They said, why did we pick Michigan J. Frog as a mascot instead of Bugs?
Right.
See how you can get it messed up?
Absolutely. It was a frog, too. A frog and Bugs,
That's right. And this is how little I was committed to that job. I did not even come up with that joke, even with the wrong premise. But I did write these promos.
Yeah.
The WB, there's no one below us. The WB, when 3 major networks and Fox and 75 cable channels just isn't enough. Comedy, dying is easy. Comedy is hard. At the WB, it's virtually impossible. And I thought this would be picked up.
Right. You won't find a lot of self-deprecating networks.
No, in fact, I got in trouble. I'm not going to bring up names because it's ridiculous. But I got in trouble when I worked at the WB. One of the executives there told on me.
Told on you for...
I was making fun of the shows, which I understand is probably not... You don't want me promoting a network necessarily.
Yeah.
But I was working. I just thought the shows were all takeoffs on... I'm sorry. I didn't love the Wayans brothers. Sorry, Josh.
I would not ever think to make you a corporate voice.
Well, no, but I was supposed to be writing funny things,
sure.
Funny promos.
Right, but not self-deprecating.
So the guys who were there, who were the really great, Bob and Lou, they're the greatest guys in the world. I find out from them, this is why these are the greatest guys of all time. They told me that someone in the executive ranks was telling on my water cooler things.
Really?
And so that gave me the heads up. I thought that was really cool that they gave me a heads up.
Sure.
Because normally it's dog eat dog in that corporate environment. As
did you get fired, or did you?
I did not get fired. Why would you think? Because I'm not good?
Because you're no longer doing it.
Oh, I see. It's okay that you no longer do the funniest videos, but me, I should still be doing the WB promos. Are you sure there's nothing available? I did continue to work for Bob and Lou on different channels. Like I think I worked for them when they were doing Lifetime things. It got harder as time went along.
Right. Did they work on the ranch, Warner
Yes,
Ranch? Okay.
exactly.
I remember I worked on I did 2 WB shows. And
What'd you do?
I did it was 2 shows about bands.
Oh, this was the Regi show, right?
The second one was. The first one was called Dead Last, which
I
was
remember that
about
name.
a band that could see ghosts.
Oh, see, that's the thing. They were in that.
Yeah, because they were.
It wasn't gimmicky enough.
No, it wasn't gimmicky
Gotcha.
enough. And it was the guys from High Fidelity and Grosse Pointe Blank. Who did,
Jack Black?
no.
Oh, no.
John-
You're talking about the writer.
It was the writer producers of that movie.
I can't remember his name. Huxtable? Hudzel?
John Cusack is.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the writer of the thing.
Well, it was DVD Vincentes and Steve Pink and another guy.
Oh, Steve Pink. He's a funny writer, Steve Pink. I worked with him on something. Why am I doing this?
I don't know.
But he did do something that I worked on. And people think I don't have credits.
He directed Hot Tub Time Machine.
That's right. And I was on a show called Chicago. I was on a show that he directed called Chicago Fire or Chicago Sirens or something to do with Chicago Fire Department.
Chicago Hope.
Nope, that's an old show. Do I look that old? That's you. I turned my phone off.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
And there is something about you when you're cranky. There's nobody better being cranky than you.
Good.
Like when I woke up that day and I woke up that day expecting you to give Yodel. What's his name? Yodel? Yoda?
I don't know.
He's the inspirational guy in Star Wars.
Yoda.
Yeah. Well, I told you about. I'm surprised Josh hasn't weighed in on this. And then, what a kick in the teeth! So all of a sudden, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit about this anymore. Oh, you want me to be the scolding guy? You know how many? You know why you're upset? Because I heard that you've gotten a lot of auditions for scolding people.
Yeah,
since then.
I'm a little tired of my new category. Assistant principal? Don't have me play that. I'm not going to play that.
Yeah, can you write?
Look what we found in your locker. I don't want to be that guy.
I like that though. Look where you find it. I do a joke that I have combination skin, part splotchy, part blotchy, part oily. They don't know what the other part's for. It's combination skin, and the combination is 26 left. You know this joke because you.
There's
helped me.
no phrase you can't deconstruct, Andy.
Yeah, nobody knows what a combination lock is. 12 left, right 30, or the joke might not be that funny, and I refuse to accept that.
Yeah, clearly. Oh, I thought you meant across the board.
Why would you say that? You said you're a big fan.
I don't know. You said you were a fan of me being cranky, so I'm going with it.
This is something that is true about us, which I think is why we are up to 35 listeners.
Right.
We're not predictable. You don't know how uncommitted to the podcast we're going to be on a week-to-week basis.
There's no fixed dynamic here.
No, there's no fixed dynamic. No. Do you think people listen to this and they go, "Oh God, these guys they're about to snap"? They can't see us visually,
right?
Because you gave me a look about 20 minutes ago, as if you were trying to signal me from being kidnapped.
Was I doing the head?
Yeah. You were like making yawning sounds and then pick up the energy movement. Have you been watching?
No.
The U.S. Open?
A little bit, yes. Mostly
Unbelievable.
Federer.
Federer? Who's the guy who wrote a book? It's not Confederacy of Dunces. He's a guy who committed suicide who wrote a book. Infinite Jest, maybe?
No, Confederacy of Dunces was
right, but I think I'm mixing him up with Infinite Jest.
Oh, Infinite Jest was David.
And he's dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He had written, supposedly, I haven't read it, but an amazing article in the New Yorker magazine about how great Federer is.
Yes, you did.
And you've read it.
Yeah.
Is it as good as everyone
It's a really good article, yeah.
Yeah, and so and that's
but why can't I think of his name, though?
David Ignatius?
No. Ignatius was the character in Confederacy of Dunces.
That's amazing because I haven't read it. How will I know that?
I don't know.
I do have Infinite Jest.
David Foster Wallace.
And that was also a very good movie. And guess who played him in the movie?
Jason Segel.
Yes.
But it wasn't a movie. It wasn't a movie. It wasn't about Infinite Jest. It was about
David Foster Wallace.
Yeah, it was an interview with him.
Right, about a guy who had interviewed him.
Right.
So when I was watching Federer yesterday, I felt like if I was articulate and if I was could arrange language in a flowery way that would increase, because the whole idea of sports commentary or writing an article is that your enjoyment of the person is increased by how they describe. It's just like good art criticism. If it explains it in a way or deepens your ability to get it,
right,
it can be great. But I have, like, online on Twitter, when I compliment somebody, I always go back to, this guy's hilarious, it's the greatest. They don't think of me as a wordsmith.
Huh.
So, but I was watching Roger, and I was like, what I was getting was, because I'm doing this in therapy too. So I don't want to, and I know this whole thing, I'm in therapy, and I'm making, and because I'm selling the T-shirts, I'm in therapy. I'm with stupid who's in therapy. There's a concept that I'm trying to do in my own life, and it's slowing down.
Yeah.
I rush all the time and don't get anything. Have we talked about this before?
In the broadest sense,
okay. Because though John Wooden, who was the coach of the UCLA Bruins, one of the greatest coaches of all time, he said, "Be quick, don't hurry." That was his thing. And so when you're being quick but you're not hurrying, you can do things without. But when you hurry, you mess it up. So with Federer, it looks almost like he's slowing the game down because he waits till the last second to decide where to hit the ball, the tennis ball back. And he's so much deceptively brilliant because he makes it look easy.
Right.
So I think he's
very Swiss about it.
What's that?
He's very Swiss about it.
That's right. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Swiss mechanism.
Yeah. Both methodical and flat in his dramaticism.
That's true. Now, why were they were also neutral?
Flat in his dramaticism? What?
They were neutral during World War II.
Yeah.
But we have to overlook these things.
Exactly.
I love the Swiss. They
hate the Jews.
They do, really?
Hate them, yes.
Is there a lot of anti-Semitism in Switzerland?
But from what I understand, yes. My wife's best friend is married to a Swiss guy.
Is that why?
And they go back there, and she's not Jewish, but she'll like go. If you mention the Jews.
That's unbelievable. Well, I know this
I don't mean to brand an entire country, but anecdotally, I've heard a lot of stories.
Luckily, we're not big in Switzerland. I want to go to Switzerland. I'm very scared to go to places like Austria, for example. Because Austria right now supposedly has more anti-Semitism. If you're looking for a vacation place that's chock full of anti-Semitism,
right,
go to Austria.
Whereas I hear Germany is a good place to be Jew.
Right, and I'm trying
these days.
What's that?
These days.
Well, that's the thing. I always think, like, I would hate to have been in the Holocaust, but I also would have hated to have been a German person who was born, who was just, like, born during that time period. I'm already feel guilty about everything. Now I would be like, how do you get over it?
It's so, I think it's really interesting how the Germans have sort of so head-on kind of taken on the national guilt of the Holocaust.
Yeah, I think it's good, right?
Yeah, it is. And it's not like America would never do that. We still don't do that. We're still fighting about statues and slavery, But, Germany has gone, okay, this is our national shame and we should treat it that way.
Sometimes we forget that our history books are still probably horrible. I don't know, maybe they're better now, but they were horrible when I was growing up. They literally whitewashed everything.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also, it's history, like Allison, my wife, talks about just like the difference between learning about the Revolutionary War growing up in England first and then growing up here. It's like a whole different story.
So what really happened? I have to ask.
It's just a whole different, it's like, they were the ungrateful rebels sort of if you're in England,
Yeah, because if you think about it, we were, we still had slavery when we came over here, but you were brought up to think we're the good guys revolutionizing and they're the bad guys. But there were certain things about the system that we didn't like, that were things that were probably good that we didn't like the establishment of religion. Do they have that now? Because didn't they want a religion? The
separation of church and state was the big, there was the Church of England,
right,
and the king was the head of the church.
But in the more recent time period, I'm interviewing my mother, and I'm going to on Quakerism because she's great on Quakerism. This way, I think maybe I'll release this down the road instead of arguing with people. But the Quakers when they came here, they were fighting for freedom of observing however you want to observe. And I think people forget that that's also part of the amendment. It's part of the Constitution is that you shouldn't, not only should you not have to be religious, but you should be allowed to be religious. You should be allowed to observe how you want to observe.
Right.
Except things like you shouldn't have a big Jesus thing and your what is it?
I don't know.
A big Jesus on your public property. I don't know. You know, the fights like Chris Bush has.
Right.
Which are
Well, his fight is to erect monuments to the Bill of Rights.
Right, which is great.
But it was sparked by initially it was sparked by them putting monuments to the Ten Commandments on public in courthouses.
Well, that's like when you forget history because it's so hard to remember everything, was that a lot of these things, almost all of them were reactions to the Civil War, where these people were trying to they were literally trying to change the history of the Civil War. They were trying to say it wasn't about slavery, that it was about states' rights. And that was a long movement. So the long time period when those statues were being built, they were being built as an in-your-face.
They were for sure. They were being built as Jim Crow laws came into being, and a lot of these statues were erected around the turn of the 20th century, and not like 50 years after.
Yeah.
And it was to basically remind people of their place and to reestablish the reminder of the white dominance, I think.
Right, and that's why, like, when I'm arguing with this guy, like, online, like, if Trump had said something anti-Semitic early on, he wouldn't have ever made it, I don't think, because we're so aware of prejudice. But it's amazing that he was able to say birther, and not be not have a tremendous reaction before he even ran. And that's where you realize what a white country you live in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my contention with what you just said is I don't know that an anti-Semitic remark would have disqualified him.
No, you're right. My problem is this. I tend to use improper arguments to make my case. But I'm saying, like, if your
argument is people would have stuck up for the Jews, I'm not buying it.
No, but all the anti-Islamic stuff that's happening right now,
right.
If you put the word Jew in there would be much more of an outcry.
Sure. And it would be higher and more nasally.
And more phlegm?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would never make the argument that it's clear sailing now for the Jews. But the fact that so many white people, like this guy who I was arguing with online, he was saying, like, I'm reluctant to call someone a racist. Well, why would you be reluctant to call the leader of the birther movement a racist? I just think sometimes we don't realize because we're white how white we are. Now, I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just saying in general.
Right.
In general, when you haven't experienced prejudice, like I've experienced very little prejudice.
Right.
Because they don't know that I'm Jewish. Because I look so handsome and Italian.
Well, privilege is invisible to those who have it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I'm happy I was middle class. I'm happy the system is rigged so that I can get ahead.
Right.
That's all good. I'm not saying change it.
Right.
I'm just saying
those are my basic rights. Now you have to muscle up, toughen up.
You have to toughen up. I'm white, after all. Yeah. So
Chris Bliss, who we were just talking about with his Bill of Rights monument, has a joke in his act about the Confederate flag, about how that flag's our heritage. That reminds us of our heritage. Well, what about black people? Black people need to stop living in the past.
That's a great joke. Oh, that's a good joke. And Chris Bliss, you can get him on iTunes.
Yes. More importantly, go to mybillofrights.org and see what he's doing.
We don't even have sponsors for this show. That guy's swimming in dough over at My Bill of Rights.
Over at his nonprofit monument building shop, yes.
And sadly, his friend passed away, Dick Gregory.
Yes, who participated in fundraisers for the mybillofrights.org.
Yes, and Chris tells very funny stories about him, about how funny he was.
Yeah.
And you know who else died? Was Shelley Berman died.
Shelley Berman died. That was sad.
I met Shelley Berman.
Did you?
In Vegas.
And let me tell you, he wasn't that happy to meet you.
Well, it was a very pleasant thing, but I had heard that he can be angry.
Yeah.
And he did get angry at this one breakfast, not at me, but at something in the order.
Right.
So you could tell he was very, and I think I told you that he's the person who told me, made me understand that it's not Iran and Iraq.
Yeah.
Because it's not Italian dressing. Because he's like a real stickler for language and things like that.
Right.
But that was a very valuable lesson to learn. But he said he gave me his phone number and he said let's have breakfast. And there's two people that I wanted to have breakfast with, but I got scared or something.
Right.
Him and Fivish Finkel.
Yeah.
I met Fivish Finkel on a plane.
Yeah.
And then I called him to say, I'm sorry, I can't make it. And he goes, and he felt bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did I not? I don't know what I'm nervous about. I want to have a lunch with Fivish Finkel.
Yeah, I would have for sure had lunch with Fivish
Shelley
Finkel.
Berman, I would have been more nervous about.
Yeah,
I'd
me
heard
too.
That he's moody and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I still would have wanted to hang out with him.
Sure.
You have to sometimes in life, like, be willing to not play, but be around someone who's a little curmudgeonly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, you also, I think.
Like you think about me.
Yeah, exactly. And you just think about me, so it works out. But I think, especially with like older celebrities.
Yeah, it's history.
It's like they all got into show business because of their ego and liking attention. So it's like to think that Fivish Finkel at age 80, former hero of the Yiddish theater isn't going to want to sit down with somebody who's in current show business and have them be interested in them,
But why didn't I go is my question.
I don't know. Because you were,
I was nervous about it.
You were afraid you would embarrass yourself in front of Fivish Finkel.
I think it's more like I have some general life agoraphobia.
Yeah.
It's like once I get out of the house and do stuff, because you said that on Feldman's podcast, I never thought of myself.
Oh, when he asked me if you were social?
Yeah, I never thought of myself as being a recluse. I'm not a recluse, but I could be put in the category of loner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think of you. I think of you as social when you're in public, but I don't think of you as being drawn to the social.
And a lot of it just is like I don't want to get out of the house. It's like
I'm the same way, but I don't. It's not as fear based for me. I don't think, but it's dread based for me.
When was the last time you saw a movie?
Months.
Right.
Since I've gone out to a movie.
Wow. Well, what do you go out to?
Mostly sets and mostly stuff where I'm the getting attention. I don't like I'm not
maybe that's why we don't want to go out.
That's part of it.
So it's very tiring entertaining America.
Right, exactly.
And there's such a heavy burden on me as being America's. In a lot of ways, I am America's sweetheart.
Right, in a lot of ways.
Like what way would you say?
The way that America. There's no way.
Oh, come on! Yes, and
you are the human bumblebee.
Wait, is the bumblebee like? If the bumblebee, what's up with the bumblebees? Are they starting to make a comeback? What's happening with bees?
The bees are doing better. From what I've read.
Do they know what happened to the bees?
They don't have a real.
Nothing to do with Monsanto.
Probably a lot to do with Monsanto, but
why do people don't like that Monsanto? I don't like AstroTurf. Well, don't order it if you don't like it. But what do they hate about Monsanto? You'll tell me later.
The way they've corrupted the world's food supply.
Oh, how are we done? How are we doing? Good.
Yeah, we're doing fantastic.
This is unbelievable. We have new rules, like Bill Maher would say. But we used to do the podcast in the old days when we would do it on Edison spools.
Right.
I would know exactly how much time had elapsed.
Yeah, but then you'd say it out loud.
I did everything you told me to please not do.
Some of it was implied, I thought. But
yeah, don't draw attention to... No, it wasn't like you were trying to fool... It wasn't like the moon landing.
Again, it's me being a school marm again, so...
It's not... It's just like, now, the moon landing didn't happen, right? That we can both... I'm just kidding around, but I don't want to get the reputation of someone who people think...
I believe it was filmed in a studio on the moon.
That would be great. That would be a great solution for it. They could have made it real, but they were afraid it wouldn't be impressive enough.
Right.
So they built the studio
on the moon.
I don't think I don't think I could have been one of the first people on the moon. They wouldn't have picked me, but I just don't. I don't understand that. Put yourself in a capsule thing.
Really? Is it?
You would do it?
I think I would. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing because we're both Jews.
I don't think I'd do like the space tourism thing. I don't think I'd spend,
$1 million,
$20 million,
Yeah.
But that's enough of a. There's enough experience in the risk to make it seem cool to me.
It sounds totally frightening to me.
It sounds totally frightening to me. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm super brave.
Well, the part
it seems worth facing fear for. to me.
Nah, you know.
And it seems like at least if you die, your family gets a hell of a story.
Is that what you want your family to have? You were incinerated through re-entering the atmosphere anecdote?
It's better than he had cancer.
Oh, that's true. We found part of Josh in the Andes.
That's right.
We found his glasses.
The part we found in the Andes had cancer.
Are you pro or against the commercials for? And they're not for cancer,
Right.
but they're for cancer prevention or treatment. Where they're like, "We're going to kick your ass, cancer."
Yeah, no, I have a whole. I've actually started talking about this on stage a little bit.
What's your take?
Well, just I mean, I'm. First of all, I think like anyone who has cancer can talk about it however the fuck they want.
Right, which is why
I mean, you shouldn't go
even be
around
talking
going,
about
"I
it.
raped the shit out of cancer." That's
Right.
like that's not cool. But you can think of it that way if you want. But,
Right.
But especially like when John McCain had his diagnosis, everyone was coming. He's a warrior, and cancer's never seen a more worthy adversary. And it's like, really, the 82-year-old man who's formerly had cancer is the most worthy adversary that cancer's ever had.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just
but it's like it's insulting to people. Like I don't think John McCain's a better person than either of my parents who died of cancer. Right. I don't think he's more of a warrior. I don't, obviously he's braver on the battlefield than my parents.
Yeah,
but
the bravery on the battlefield, you have to give that to him.
But when you have cancer, you aren't battling cancer. You're the battlefild.
Right,
Your doctor is battling cancer, and you can choose whatever mindset you want, but it doesn't necessarily affect the outcome. I had this with my mom. My mom, who was as negative as they can be as a person and still be delightful, was, she was negative her whole life. And, she was a worst case scenario stylist. So when she gets cancer, she starts taking this positive thinking class. And she's trying so hard to think positively, and it's really a challenge for her. And now we're getting towards the place where the cancer's advanced, and it's very clear to us that she's going to die. And now it's flipped to the point where she's like now getting mad at herself for failing to think positively enough to beat cancer.
Right. Like
it's suddenly her fault. And that's when I literally had to have this horrible conversation with my mom. It's like, Mom, this is bullshit. The thing that our family has always had is an ability to face things realistically, with humor and realism. So you've twisted this now to this point where you're blaming yourself for this,
How did you take that talk?
She took it fine. And
and the basic thing is you were trying to help her not be hard on herself.
Well, it was a really hard conversation because it basically the upshot of my talk was you're dying, face that for what it is rather than treating it as your final failure was what was bothering me.
Right.
She was treating the fact that she was dying as a failure, and that was breaking my heart to see, quite honestly. So it was a really hard conversation that sort of, ended, with her getting it, being fairly sort of stunned for a little bit and then thanking me for having the conversation.
That's a pretty cool thing. People go their whole lives and not have obviously not have cancer, but just the fact that you were able to do that with your mom.
Yeah, my mom and I had an incredibly frank relationship, especially after my dad died, because she needed someone to be frank with her, at that point.
Right.
And my dad and I are wired similarly,
So he was a comfort to her too.
Yeah, well, he was her sense of perspective, kind of. He was,
Right.
He didn't believe in fairness or luck, even really.
Right.
Or he believed in luck, I guess, but he believed that bad luck was part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we had a lot of we were very honest with each other, my mom and I. But it was a hard conversation to have.
Well, the thing is this is that's when that thing happened with I do like Oprah, but I have problems with a lot of the things she did. But I like Oprah. I mean,
yeah.
No,
she's brought more good to the world than bad, by a long shot.
But when she did the thing, on the bad side is when she brought on Condoleezza Rice to sell the war, basically.
Right.
And then someone from the audience said, I don't know, this doesn't sound right. This war, the second war. And Oprah was like, well, we're just trying to help you understand. It was like she had blind spots like that. And one of the but she's great. But the blind spot that she really had was with The Secret.
Right.
And that to me is like, really dangerous because, I mean, she actually later on said, no, if you're Jewish, you didn't create your own Holocaust. You know what I mean? But I think that they take these, what they're doing is they're taking actual true Eastern philosophy and simplifying it to make it wrong. You know, there's a part of like when you're a comedian or whatever where you can get into that groove where you're feeling it positively. You know, but that doesn't mean that that's the answer all the time.
Right.
To just because I hope I didn't say this. I was with a positive thinking guy who was into Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And he was telling me he was a comedian. We were on the plane together. He goes, I hope I'll be able to go to the Montreal Just for Laughs. I mean, I know I'll be able to go to the Montreal Just for Laughs. That was his thing. You don't say I hope, you say I know.
Right. Which is ridiculous.
But the most embarrassing thing was at one point during the flight, he goes, do you have goals? He said to me. I thought he said, do you have Advantage Gold? So I started telling him, oh, I do have Advantage Gold. I've been a member since. That was bad. I would say that's my bad.
Yeah. I know I'm getting 1,800 miles for this flight. I don't hope.
But that's just such a silly thing that could be, like, a lot of times even before I performed, I've been able, because I've been nervous, I've been able to let it go.
Right.
Those are all valid things. Or, you know, I also am able to pray a little bit before. I don't want you to get upset, but I'm able to. It's like
God damn it! Why are you bringing that into our show?
You told me I could do the religious thing in this.
Why are you bringing that into my house?
And the thing about praying is the same thing in the 12-step program. When you're giving up a power, like you're saying, I can't with my little mind control this drinking, right? Well, before I'm doing a set, if I'm getting all freaked out, I may say, "Oh God, please get me through this."
Right.
You know, I'm not then later on after going, "Hey, God told me."
Hey, God, what do I owe you?
You know, God doesn't like it when you say it's time to settle up.
Right. Last call.
So, God, you got me through the stand-up set and that stomachache I had. What do I owe you?
What's the tally? But
anyway, all I'm saying is, if you want to hear more of me and Joel Osteen, go to I think it's Osteen.
I think
right?
it's Osteen.
Osteen. And I love it. You should be rich. You should love religion, and you should be rich.
Right, exactly. If you know,
turn the frown.
That's how Jesus had it planned. Jesus was just your portfolio manager.
That's right. Jesus. People don't know this. He was Jewish. He was an accountant. I think jokes have been done about Jesus. Yeah. He was Jewish. He was never built any. What are those jokes about Jesus?
There was people were quoting you from our live show about how if Jesus was Jewish, he'd be doing that.
I gotta listen to this show. This show sounds
gold,
great.
Isn't it? I realized from the live show that my pillow guy impression had morphed into more of a characterization.
Oh no!
I was doing it like this. The patented fill like this, but really, it's more like this. It's the patent I'm made in my own shop in Minnesota with a patented fill, machine washable.
Washable is.
But he talks up here. It's not down here like this. He talks up here. My pillow made here in Minnesota after my 5 years of intensive development.
I noticed he didn't get a 10-year guarantee on that horrible pajama top he wears.
Am I right?
That was the funniest thing I've ever heard. Now, I know I'm guilty of hyperbole, but am I right was the perfect punctuation for that.
I nailed it.
You nailed it. Now, you got an idea for an ending tonight? just trying to poison it.
Yeah. I do, but it's not ready yet.
Okay, so please, people.
It's almost ripe.
I have responded to 4 emails over the last 2 weeks.
It's pretty impressive.
So please email us.
Email us at thoughtspiralshow@gmail.com. Also, please go to iTunes and rate and review us if you would.
And we were just named number 1 thing by the magazine.
We were named a podcast.
Who are the people
by
who
the
do
National
the
Certification Board?
By the country. Who are the people who do the testing of cars?
Price Waterhouse?
No, I think it's
the J.D. Power and Associates.
J.D. Power. I loved him. I was never crazy about his associates. Come on, you laugh.
What can't be
laugh.
deconstructed by Andy Kindler? What phrase can't be deconstructed?
I can take any word. I can make any word into a different word. And
Time flies when you're having fun. Does it really fly? Do we really need to see time in the air like that? How about on my wrist? Not on my watch.
You know, when you make it sound like that, it makes it sound bad.
No.
You do it with
You're a
love.
bumblebee.
Do you not do it
It's
with
the
love?
bumblebee.
What's that?
It's the bumblebee theory.
I don't understand the bumblebee theory.
I've told you this many times. David Feldman calls you the bumblebee because on paper you shouldn't be able to fly.
Is that where the bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly?
Yeah.
Do they have no wings?
Just engineering-wise, they do have wings.
They do have wings, but they look bad.
Right. They're just that's the saying is that a bumblebee is it shouldn't be able to fly on paper when you had it done.
I can't believe there's competition in the flying world for how well you fly.
Sure. There's competition in every world.
I saw this show on this. I won't go on with this, but it was a show, one of these like National Geographic shows with all about monkeys. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I love monkeys, first of all.
Sure.
This made me love monkeys more. There's these things called...
I didn't know it was possible, but I love monkeys even more now.
2 barrels of monkeys are twice as fun as 1 barrel of monkeys. They have this is like a lemur, and it actually gallops. Like it finds an open area,
Yeah.
and then it gallops along. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, that's gotta
And then
be
they
fun.
have these tiny monkeys. They're so cute. You know that you'd like to take one home, and they would tear the flesh off of you.
Absolutely, they would for fun.
Because I was told on the pet shop by a guy who trained monkeys that once they get over a year old, you can't keep them.
No, and we know all the horrible chimp stories in the world.
Is this where they rip someone's face off?
My favorite one is this, and yes, I've talked about this in my act, but I'll try not to do the act form of it. But this couple, like 40 years ago, goes to Africa and adopts a baby chimp and bring it back to raise as if it was their child in America.
This is a true story, too, right?
You know, because God forbid you help an actual African child. No, get the monkeys out of there. They hate that natural habitat shit. So now flash forward 37 years. The chimp is still living with them. No job, no prospects. I don't know what kind of parents they were, but and he bites a mailman. So they have to put the chimp into a wildlife preserve. So now flash forward another 3 years. It's now the chimp's 40th birthday. And they go to visit their son in his cage, and they're feeding him cake through the bars of his cage. Now, meanwhile, 2 other chimps escape from their cages. They come over, see that chimp's getting cake, and they're not, and they go apeshit, if you will. They like knock over the old woman. They bite off the man's like lips, fingers, and balls.
They got out.
They got out and they jumped. They bit off the man's lips, fingers, and balls.
Is that true?
That's true. So, if you value your lips, fingers, or balls, perhaps a cat.
Wow. All I can say is, wow, that's the greatest story I've ever heard. And I am laughing. I feel bad. Are they still alive? We don't know.
They survived, but it wasn't pretty for the guy.
They never enjoy.
I might have gotten appendage wrong, but yeah, it was like
they're the only couple that they do say, "Have your cake and eat it too." When they have cake, I don't know why. I thought that would be funny. Let them eat cake.
That was the tag I needed. Thank you.
Let them eat cake would be another one.
Right.
Oh, I got to read that story now.
Yeah, it happened. It was several years ago, but I used to love animals attacking people stories. I really do.
Because they shouldn't be bothering with them to begin with.
No,
right?
it's just it's like the epitome of asking for it. Dumb. These people who have like this
exotic cockatoos.
Well, or tigers and lions, and this like I have this special connection, with these animals. We respect each other, and then that's always like their last words.
Well, but then
like the crocodile hunter was when that was part. That's kind of when I started like getting into these kind of stories because I saw his wife on TV like really soon after he died, going, well, he always thought he'd die young, but he thought it would be in a car accident or an airplane crash, and I'm watching, going, well, I pretty much fucking thought it would be an animal.
And what happened?
I didn't think it would be a stingray like it was necessarily.
It was a stingray.
Yeah.
What happened?
He was in the ocean and took a stingray sting to the chest, apparently.
Oh, I don't. That's why I recommend.
That's
pools.
why I don't swim. I don't like the swimming. Not so much with the swimming for me. Well, with the stingrays and the sharks and the bluegills.
Even on the good day, the ocean floor stinks.
Yes. With the crabs and the grabbing and the...
Is that Cosby at the beach?
I don't know what I was doing.
But East Coast. I used to go to the beach on the East Coast. It was just awful.
I've been to.
Like stuff on the... Why don't they pave it?
They should.
This has to... how long have we been going on in this podcast now?
I think we're fine. I think we're good.
No, I'm not saying that we shouldn't.
You're
continue.
tired of me?
No, I like
understand.
it. No, when I was born, I said, I hope one day I get into a meandering conversation that never ends.
Right.
That was my hope.
Someday I hope to do 24 hours of conversation
But,
with
make
one
sure it's
person
recorded.
and publish it. This episode will take us over 24 hours of talking.
It's unbelievable.
That's a bad day for someone.
Well, they don't listen to it all in one day.
People do listen and they run together.
Well, I have to take myself out of the
People
equation.
who listen list.
Well, I was like, I have to accept that I'm delightful and charming.
Yes, you do.
Just not to me.
You do need to accept that.
Yeah. Should I be like you, who has listened to every show 15 times, and you like call me up in the middle of the night, Andy, it was so funny when
I found a new angle. No, it's funny when people make references to shows, and I'm like, I have no memory of what you're making. And then I'll see 3 people make a reference to it. I go, must have happened.
But sometimes you do recall, right?
Yeah, often I do, but often I don't.
There's got to be a way that we can figure out a way to get this all by computer. There's no reason why I should have to show up or you should have to show up. We sample our voices, and then we make a program, entertaining talk.
Yeah.
Boom. It writes itself.
Yeah, instead of me wishing you'd show up every week. God, Andy came over, but I wish he'd show up.
Oh, I get it. You're saying I only brought my B game.
Yes. Oh, I wish for your B game.
This is a bad night for you to be saying that when you've been about 1/4 of a million.
I've been nothing.
I was going to pile on you.
Yeah.
Because you did say to me at one point, which is the first time you ever said to me, tonight you need to be the alpha male, whatever it's called.
Right.
I don't understand.
But then I rallied, I think. I brought
You
out,
rallied
I brought
really
out
good.
the monkey story and the dead mom story.
You really did rally very good. Because, and then I rally too, because part of rallying is realizing that you're...
Seeing the landscape.
That's right.
Playing the field.
Exactly right.
Yes, you did a good job.
I was very funny, and you were very funny. And
I was baggage tonight.
you were
but
insightful, and I was...
You were the clown. You were the clown prince of Thought Spiral.
And I think people could tell how good-looking I am.
I think it came
from
through
this show.
this week, finally.
Yeah.
I think when they pictured you interviewing Cloris Leachman, Academy Award winner Cloris Leachman.
I know, but she was so obnoxious when she did the pet shop. Oh, it was just terrible.
I believe it.
I wanted her to be cool. I love her.
Sure, you'd think she would be.
She was funny as Phyllis.
Yes, she was funny as a lot of things.
No, she's a brilliant actress. Why do you put
But she's a terrible guest on a pet talk show.
Oh, she was terrible. Maybe our show was...
How was her cat?
I don't remember that part.
Little
Cats we couldn't
a
have...
little too quick to be nervous, apparently.
It turns out if you are going to host a show interviewing celebrities and their pets, there's not going to be a lot of cats.
Right.
You're going to have almost all dogs, or you're going to have the guy who has who's the guy from Guns N' Roses?
Axl
Slash. He had a snake.
Yeah. Did he bring a snake on?
Yeah, and he said, "Hey man," he goes, "I think that snake's about to bite you." And I said, "Oh my god!" He goes, "Just kidding around."
Slash is funny.
I like Slash.
One of rock and roll's great Jews.
That's right, and his mother was a Jew. His
That's
mother
how
was
it happens.
A PR person or something. I don't remember anything.
Something
It's
Hollywood.
yeah.
Was but I seem to remember something on that show where you were like having someone overcome their fear of snakes or something.
Oh, that does ring a bell.
Okay, so
Was it that show? It
might have been a different show. Did you do another show?
Well, I did Letterman. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I did a lot of field pieces for Letterman.
No, I don't.
Do you think it was one of those,
I don't
Josh?
remember that. I don't remember that at all. But I remember your pet show on Animal Planet.
And they were so mad that we couldn't get like Madonna. They thought these executives thought we could get Madonna on,
Right?
And who would tell some fabulous story about what she feeds her cat. They didn't even. When the show started, there was no Animal Planet in L.A.
There's no bigger category of delusion in show business than, hey, we should get blank.
Yes. Yeah.
On a first-year show, especially. There's just, I've just, jaw-droppingly stupid names have come up over the years,
Yeah.
We once broke a whole show, around Prince. On this Malcolm and
Now,
Eddie
you should tell
show.
the layperson what break a show means.
Breaking a show means breaking a story is when you're in the writer's room and you're literally coming up with each beat of the story from Act 1, Scene 1, all the way through, and what happens in each scene and what happens at the act break and what happens, how does it end, and it's the outline stage of a show.
Right. And was that on Kinnear?
No, this was on Malcolm and Eddie.
Oh, so the whole thing was based on...
The whole thing was based on, yeah.
That they meet Prince somewhere.
And it was all based on the fact that Eddie Griffin did a Prince impression, essentially.
I would have thought for sure you told me that one of those guys had met Prince.
No, this was a guy named Jeff Franklin was running the show.
I remember Jeff Franklin.
He's the guy who created Full House and
yes.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and he ended up running the show.
I think he directed Muddling Through, which was a show that... Jennifer Aniston was in. I did a little part on it, but if it had been picked up, there would be she wouldn't be on Friends. But check it out, everybody.
Right.
So
thank God you were in that show.
Yes.
To assure it not getting picked up. You saved history.
Yeah, that's true. I cut you off though, Jeff Franklin.
Oh, so he was the guy running the show. So and he was a big showrunner. So I think he had grandiose ideas of who he could attract. But this whole time we're writing the show based around Prince, and in my head I'm going, we are not getting Prince. Prince is not coming to our set. He's not going to say yes. And it was the same thing we did an episode with athletes,
Right.
And it was yeah, all these people want to do shows, but they don't want to do a first-year show that no one has heard
right,
of.
That's right. That's
so
right. That makes
instead
sense.
of Prince, we got Montel Jordan at the end,
Wait a second. You got who instead?
Montel Jordan, exactly. This is how we do it. Ooh.
Oh, wait. I'm thinking of Montel Williams.
No, we didn't get him.
So
we couldn't get him.
Montel Jordan is This Is How We Do It, right?
Yeah.
This is how we do it.
And he did that on the show.
And I bet he was good. And I bet everybody was walking around in the dream world going, actually, this is better than Prince?
No, because they still ended up with him doing Prince in the show. So,
oh my God. That really does sound...
But it was like another one, and it was like, we had to get a celebrity sports guest star, and it's like, let's get Shaq. We'll get Shaq, okay, fine. And then it's Damon Stoudemire ends up being our celebrity guest.
I think you're supposed to find out who you can get first.
Yeah, that's what you should do. But there's, but it's that secret thing. If you, fake it till you make it. Project, why believe you can't get Prince? Why
Right.
not think positively?
Well, you can think positively, but you don't want to spend 1 minute of one day writing dialogue about Prince. That's not going to happen.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
Did you express that at all?
Probably. I tend to
Knowing you.
not be able to
Knowing you, yeah.
swallow my skepticism always.
How is it tasty, your skepticism?
I find it delicious.
Oh, man, we are on a roll now. Let's start again now.
Okay.
And go another hour and a half.
From the top.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Test.
Check
test
one.
1,
check,
2.
check,
Test.
Check.
Test.
Check one.
Test.
Check one.